Okay, welcome everyone. I'm Joanne Flynn Black, and I'm the founder of Launch Before, and I help women to launch before, they feel completely comfortable and their mighty network is perfect, and they just want to get them out into the world because the world really needs them, right? So, everyone here is on the Mighty Network platform or getting on the Mighty Network platform. So I wanted to talk about today top 10 engagement boost things that I've seen that I've tried that I think have been successful. Also, I've heard from other hosts, and I wanted to make this interactive. So if you have thoughts around, I've seen that work, but with a little spin, or I haven't seen that work, but I'm going to try it, or other ideas too. Definitely want to make it as interactive as possible. So, with that said, I have my list here, and I'm going to start with number one, which is easy questions. It sounds so basic, but a lot of times we all want to have this really long thing, and we want people to think and say what's on their mind about a certain topic, and when they read it, they're like, you know what, that's going to take me probably 5 minutes to answer. I'll do it later. It's really important. I want to answer, Joanne, but I'm going to do it later. And as we know, we're all super busy. Later sometimes happen, most of the time does not. But if the question's a quote easy question, like it could be answered in 15 seconds or less, then I might answer it and just answer it right now. And I'll give the example. A few of you have heard this. Gina, who's also in our community, she's a nutritionist, and she thought of a question which was, what do you like better, coffee or tea? And she literally almost didn't post it because she said, that's such a stupid question. Why should I even post that? But she decided to post it, and she posted it, and it was her most engaged content out of everything she's done and all the fabulous information. She said people were coming out of the woodwork to answer whether they like coffee or tea. So, think about just something in your kind of in your world that could be something easy. I know around Halloween, Zena had a good one, which was around candy corn, with whether you like it or you hate it. And it's definitely a very polarizing thing. People love candy corn or you cannot stand candy corn. And so she posted it, and people replied. So just think about something in your either related to a community or close, that wouldn't be so far afield that they would say, well, why is Angel even asking this question? This makes no sense. So that was number one. Number two is similar to this, but it's polls. So polls are really easy because, if it's a multiple choice, they literally could go in and click. If it's a hot cold, they could give a percentage of how strongly they feel, let's say, about coffee. Like, I'm 100% on coffee. Um, and there's also a percentage poll. What percentage of you feels grateful today, or what percent grateful do you feel, something like that. So it's again very easy. You don't have to think much about it. Um, I like using polls. So easy questions and polls, kind of similarly, number one and two. So number three is a new feature that was just launched, which I want to ask if anyone has used it, which is live. So in Mighty Networks, you can now go live. Um, I've only done it once myself, so I can't give you lots of, examples of how it worked. But I went live, I pinged a few people and said, hey, I'm going live, I want to test it out. If you can hop on with me. Two people were able to hop on at that moment. Um, Here's why I think it's good. When you go live, people will get a push notification. It will say, Joanne is live. If someone happens to be watching their email at that moment, they probably want to see, what I'm saying, or, what Karen's saying, if they can. Um, so I think live is going to be big. Just a little information about that. Currently, you cannot go live and share your screen, which that's painful to me because I love being able to demo things. But that is one of the features they're working on next. Um, don't know exactly when next. Could be a month, it could be 4 months, but I'll keep you posted on that. The other big thing that they're working on is the ability to bring in guests on your live. So if I wanted to go live with Karen, we could both be on the screen and we could both be talking. I think that's a really important feature, especially if you're doing interviews. So they know people are saying, hey, we want at least those two things. So I just wanted to ask, did anyone, oh, go ahead, Megan.
Are we going to be able to download those videos? Do you know yet?
Yes.
Did you say that?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Okay.
can. You can. So you can, what happens is, after I went live, I had the option then to post it. And so I posted it, and now it's there. People could still go back and watch it. And I believe in that is the ability to download it as well.
Awesome.
So,
That's
yeah, I just want to see, has anyone gone live or have plans to go live? Yeah, Angel?
I have not gone live yet, but definitely plan on it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I tested it out um, on the last new moon because I wanted to talk about setting intentions, new moon practices, all that kind of thing, mindfulness. So went over well. It was a Saturday, so the ladies were engaged in other things. That was in November, as a matter of fact. And I just saved the video and, just they watched it after the fact and, but no problems with it. I really
Oh,
like it. I'm looking forward to using that more.
oh, good. Yeah, that's great a great way to use it. Did you plan it? Like, did you say, I'm going live at 3 o'clock, come
Mhm.
join me? Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I put
That's
in
good.
like it was the new moon was on a Saturday. It was the bare moon, I believe. And I let them know ahead of time that I was going to be talking about Sankalpa practices and setting intentions and all this. So I think I posted that like on Monday. I'll be live on Saturday at such and such
Oh,
time.
good.
So yeah.
Oh,
Mhm,
good.
mhm.
I want to do that next time I go live, to schedule it and, have people, more people come, hopefully.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's so key is, it's fun to be able to do the impromptu, but if you can not only announce it, a couple times, I mean, just like today, having your, knowing that we were going to do this and having that in an email is
Mm,
so important. And
Mhm.
even having a schedule, that people can reflect back to is so good.
Mhm.
right, right,
I think
right.
that the bigger your audience, the more useful the live is also, right? If you actually have
Mm,
people sitting on the network and that little red button comes up. I mean, that's the
mm,
only reason I ever go live on Instagram is just knowing that people are on there in the moment and then they're going to join you. Um,
mm,
so I'm excited about, like you were saying, Joanne, the screen sharing option, because I want to run the mini workshops that I sell through Mighty Networks and be able to do live stuff through that. But right now the capabilities are a little bit
mm.
shaky, but I'm glad that it's coming. And I love that Mighty Networks is always moving forward with the next thing. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I just saw they put out a poll, like, which feature are you most excited about with this live, and or survey, and those were two of the top ones. So hopefully I'll let you know when I hear more about the timing. So that's great. Okay, so that was number three. I feel like I should have like flashcards or something. And number four. Um, I'm calling it short videos, but one thing could be in a short video is a loom, where you screen share and you give a little demo tutorial. I know that a lot of times when someone asks me a question, it's more complicated to write it out and not as intuitive. Then I'll just do a loom. Okay, click here, go here, go there, and it seems to help people to navigate, also to get to know you better. If they're like, oh, I know her, she's pretty genuine, or I like her, whatever. I feel like those short videos are helpful. I think Zena, you use it a little bit, I, or
Yeah,
you posted
I've been
those
trying
more.
I've been trying to.
Yeah.
So in the course that I took on memberships, they recommended doing a short video intro for every like thing that you kind of put out. And I think it's really about, like you said, building a sense of connection. Um, I mean, I do them down and dirty. I just do them
Mhm.
like one through. I don't try to like add music or make them
Wow.
super fancy. I just stick it in there and I do an article, and then I can
Mhm.
embed the video on the top, and then I put some text and like the guide or the offering down below. So I think that it's nice. I think that everybody learns or prefers different ways to interact. Um, I personally am not a video person. I'd rather
Mhm.
just like scan and grab the stuff, but I know that there are people who are. So I've been working on that. Mhm.
Nice. That's great. Let's see. Okay, so number 5 is events. And like this one, right? I have 3 events with the community. Every Friday is a co-working, and then every other Wednesday is this community chat, and then every other Monday is our vision action, like accountability group. And I know that when I first started the community, I had no events, and it was pretty flat. Like people were kind of interested, kind of not. But the minute I started adding events, it just became more real almost. Like people felt connections. Like I imagine now, like if Xena sees something Angel posts and she's never met Angel, but she met her today, she'll be like, "Oh, Angel, like I've met her. Like I know her." And the more calls that people join, the better. I think I think it helps to have them recurring, like Megan and her community has every Thursday. She has a co-working, and so at 11, so you kind of get familiar with. Although I've missed a few, but you kind of get familiar with. Oh, I'm not going to schedule anything Thursday at 11 because I want to go to the Megan thing. I don't want to miss out. And the same thing. I know Jamila was the same way when she first joined. She's like, okay, I'm putting it on my calendar, Monday at noon, Tuesday at 2. I'm gonna try not to schedule anything for that time. So those recurring times help for events. Just giving people advance notice. I think that helps. Okay, number 6 is uh, tagging people, not in a like annoying way. Like, oh, there goes Joanne tagging me again because she just wants me to read this thing. Like, I get it, But if it's relevant, if it's something really relevant, like, oh, hey, hey, Karen, I just read this article and I think it'd be really interesting to you, and it really is something relevant, then you wouldn't feel like, oh, that there goes Joanne tagging people again just so they'll read it. So I think, and especially if it's like multiple people, like let's say after this event, if I post something, if I post, the tips or how it went, or, and I could tag all of you, I don't think you'd mind that, like, hey, we all came together and this is what we came up with. So I just think that does help, because if you get a notification that says, Xena tagged you, like, ooh, what's Zena saying about me? You want to look. So, um, and then,
Joanne, I just
yeah.
wanted to interject. I mean, that's what I posted today in the group was kind of a combination of number 5 and 6, the hosting live events. That definitely for me was where I started seeing people do text exchanges more often. And only after I hosted live events, it's like the people felt safer or more comfortable having met in person. And then, so I am working on setting up a launch for January 1st for this year. And I was feeling a little frazzled trying to find testimonials. And I'm so thankful that I made a habit of doing this little trick after live events, because 3 out of the 5 testimonials that I have are from this little habit of at the end of the event saying something on the lines of like, hey, I know that you have a lot of stuff going on and thank you for taking the time to be here. Before you get up and leave your computer, like do yourself a favor and either one, leave yourself a note talking about like what you gain from this so that next time the event is happening, you're more likely to show up again, or take a moment and write a note of gratitude to someone else who is here, who said something that inspired you or motivated you. And that's where the tagging comes in, because people always tag. And that has been also super helpful in creating like a sense of connection between people. I think sometimes in the live meetings, people are a little bit uncomfortable with saying, oh, thank you so much. Like that was really helpful when you said, but they're more comfortable tagging the person after, and then you kind of open up with this invitation for them to do so. So those two things together have also made it really easy for me to pull stuff for my launch, to have these really positive testimonials. And of course, it gives you a boost, a self-confidence boost too after your live event, to see all these people like writing nice notes to themselves or to the other people who are there. And it's just kind of an all around awesome thing.
Yeah, Zena, that was amazing. And I've added a little piece of that myself. When I do one-on-ones, or, I'll say, I'll do a one-on-one with you, but if you could take a few minutes to sort of recap so that the rest of the group can share. It's such a win-win, because then it's sort of like they understand that us having an extra one-on-one is important, and also sharing with a group. A lot of people are so willing to sort of, be sort of charitable to the rest of the group, before even serving themselves. So I have just been bonkers for that idea, Zena. That was such a great gift that you gave us when you shared that.
I love that idea. It's such an act of self-care and generosity. And if I were in your community, it would feel to me like real authentic connectedness. It's intentional, it's heart-centered. And I just love that. I really do. It sets such a warm and positive tone to give someone gratitude, to say, wow, you said something today that really resonated for me. Thank you for being here. That's a fantastic idea. I really, really like that a lot.
I don't remember. I listened to some podcast the other week. I don't remember what it was about, but they said we really only showcase gratitude at very distinct points in our lives, like weddings, funerals, birthdays. And then it's actually like around Thanksgiving when everyone gets their little gratitude thing. But it is actually a really uncomfortable thing to express gratitude, because a lot of people don't know how to receive that. And so people just opt out because it's kind of a little bit uncomfortable. So I love the idea of us prompting people, hey, this is okay. And then it takes our in-person meetup offline, because people aren't uncomfortable. People are a little bit uncomfortable doing it in person, but they're not uncomfortable like hitting behind their little keyboards, but it's still strong and meaningful. So yeah, I really, really like it. And being able to pull testimonials from it this week was an added bonus that I didn't expect, but people would I be like apparently feel a sense of gratitude towards the community as a whole, because they would write their thing and then they would say something after, like, I'm so thankful for like and then they'd kind of leave a little testimonial.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that was really helpful for me, I think, especially at the beginning when you're doing all this stuff. Like you said, Karen, you feel like you're kind of like a duck. You're like paddling under the water so fast, even if you look calm on the top. So that was really a blessing to be able to go pull those and to not have to ask people for testimonials, or they sound really authentic too, the way that they're written. Because they're, like you said, Angel, they're written from the heart. They're not like,
Yeah.
can you give me a testimonial? So
Right.
Right.
it's been amazing. Mm-hmm.
And they're in the moment. They're right there in the moment. The like now, like, oh my gosh, I feel so grateful that I saw my email and I'm in this group with you ladies. And I'm like, wow, what a great day. And I could, if, I mean, I'll write one today, just
Oh,
because I'm in the moment. It's different than
yeah,
after the fact, Zena, like you're saying,
right,
to ask someone for it. Then it kind of feels
right. Have to
salesy and stuff.
remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And Zena's really big on also living this for herself, because a lot of times after meetings, like she'll post something on the community, hey, I just want to thank Joanne for what she said about such and such accountability and really helped me to blah blah. It's just like, and it's really genuine. It's really relevant to what we just covered. It's not like she's just, oh, well, what am I going to say? She's really, I think it feels genuine anyway.
Mhm.
So I always appreciate that. Great. So kind of related to tagging, is number 7, which is private messaging. So, I know a lot of us have different ways of connecting with each other, like with Megan and Zena, like we're messaging on Facebook, we're sending text messages, we're sending emails, we're doing all this stuff. And um but if we got into a habit of sending a message through your membership, it it can draw people in, like especially if it's related. Like, oh, I just wanted to let you know that I was thinking of you about this. I am sending you a private message. It's not something you want to blast on the community, but it's related to your network, and you're sending it there. They'll then get a notification that says Joanne sent you a private message. So most people will want to know what you said. Um, so I try to keep the private messages at least related to something with the community, but not always. Like I've just had um, interchange with Stephanie, who's in the community. Actually, she got one of these Remarkables, which is a writing thing, and so we were just messaging about the Remarkable, and it just became like a casual conversation over messaging, but it got her in the thing. So, again, just do it not to make people, oh, now I gotta go over Joanne's community. It's just sending me messages, but if you make it real and authentic, I think it's a good thing.
Joanne, I've been using the instant message when I notice people go silent, like people who are pretty chitty chatty, and then all of a sudden they're kind of quiet. And I just will send them a note that says, hey, I'm just checking in to make sure everything's okay with you, like not even, and sometimes people don't reply and they just kind of come in, and some people just are like, oh, thanks for this. I was doing that or whatnot. And then I also, at least in my community, when maybe because it's such a small group and there's such a sense of connection, people have semi-IMs when they're going to cancel. Like they don't want to just disappear, like they feel a sense of obligation. And one of the people I was able to like chit chat and convince her to stay. And now it's been like an extra 2 months that she's, and I basically said, asked her for feedback. I sent her to that type form and I said, I like, you are my person. Like, I really want to help you. You like this, but you don't like that. Like, what is it that I can provide to you? And let's chat. And so that worked. And then the other time it didn't work. But to be honest, that person was not an ideal fit for the group, and I knew it from the get-go when she and I started chatting. So but it still gave me an opportunity to have like a personal conversation that was a little bit more like a conversation versus like a note saying like, well, I wish you the best, and good luck with your family in India and all this other stuff, so it felt definitely more personal. Yeah, it was great.
It's good. Yeah.
Can I ask just to clarify,
Yeah.
for those of you who've used it, what do you find the advantages of, you're talking about messaging within the community rather than sending an email or a Facebook direct message or something? Is that just to keep them coming back to the community, or is there something else that I'm maybe overlooking?
Yeah, for me, it's usually a direct message related to something in the community, and it gets them to not have to, go to another platform and get a message from me, in Facebook or on email or however. It's just more contained that they're like, oh, Joanne sent me a message. I'm going to go back to the community. While they're there, oh, maybe I'll answer a poll. Oh, I see that event's happening. Maybe I'll pop on. So
Yeah.
that's how it works for me. I don't know if anyone else,
I
anything different.
Yeah, I would say that too, that, from a logistical sort of strategic standpoint, it is drawing them back into the community. But what I also like about it is that it allows them to sort of, if it's related to that, what the work that you're doing together in that community kind of helps them be in that modality versus, email or all the other, forms of
Right.
communication that we have. It sort of helps them from a mental standpoint be in that mode. And so
Right.
I like about it as well.
And I just wanted to piggyback on that too. I think the same thing, that keeps them in the community, because ultimately that's what this is all about. Like if I wanted to be on Facebook, I'd be on Facebook. So I feel like it's all about keeping them in the community, as Megan was saying, if it's relevant to something. But here's something else that another member of mine talked about. We have something called Thrive Thursdays, which is led by a career woman who does career coaching. And this member, we talked on one of those Thrive Thursdays about some stuff that was going on in her workplace, and some difficult negotiation that she was going to have to do that was creating stress for her and whatnot. And so in the Thrive Thursday session, we gave her some strategies. She implemented those strategies, and then she talked about this person who was kind of toxic on her team and whatnot. Long story made short, she private messaged us, myself and the career coach, about the outcome that she had put these strategies in place. And she said, I'm just sending this as a private message because I never know who else may join this community, and I don't want to, and she's pretty high level in her organization and whatnot. So sometimes it's that kind of thing where we've been talking about something in a thread or a post, and then this person has something really personal that they don't want everyone else on that thread to see. So I found it useful for that too.
I've had that same experience, Angel. One of the ladies in my group, admitted that she's a hoarder, and she was struggling with some personal stuff around selling her house, and she just didn't really want all of her dirty laundry out there. I mean, she was still pretty open in the group, but the instant messages that she sent were a lot more vulnerable, and definitely built a sense of connection. But Karen, I did want to point out that I mentioned to Joanne a while back, and I forgot where to check this again. But I was messing around in my analytics, and I did find that I have at least one person who's turned off notifications from Mighty Networks. And so one of the things that I am going to do again with this launch is, as one of my welcoming steps, is try to convince people to go in and change their notifications to a daily digest rather than getting hit every single time something happens, because I was very excited to not have to use email, because I could just send a notification through Mighty Networks. But I think people start to ignore those after a while. It kind of becomes noise. And so I have defaulted to still also sending 2 like connection emails a week. One on Monday, that's like, it's a cookie cutter. It's like, hey, I'm so excited for the new week. Here's what we have going on. Like, come to as few or as many of these things as you want. You know, it's like obviously just standard. And then on Friday, I do just like in Tribe Live, I just do a week roundup. That's like, hey, this is some of the stuff that is going on in the community. This is what we did. Here are some like conversations you can go join. Here's kind of what we're working on next week or whatnot. And I found that those are helpful too. So kind of like a combination of both on my end, at least.
That's a great
That's
point
great.
of the notifications.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
I'll just add by saying it's interesting seeing the different dynamics of how people prefer to communicate. I definitely agree with Zena that right in the beginning, especially, and even encouraging it throughout, because people forget that to select the weekly digest, because because they end up getting very frustrated with it. And
Right.
but it is really intriguing to see, it's almost like, and at risk of seeming, it's almost like just sort of training people the best ways to communicate. Direct message is great, but let's kind of spin that around so the rest of the group can benefit from this where they feel comfortable, and that sort of thing. And that group, and you might mention this, Joanne, but the group messaging has been really helpful.
Yeah, that was number 8.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I busted it.
You predicted number 8. So this is a new feature. It's group chat. So in the past, before, I don't know, a few weeks ago, you could send one or all. You couldn't send some combination. But now, just like in a WhatsApp or something like that, you can choose. I could do a group, and it could be the people who join the engagement message meeting, and I have Zena, Karen, Angel, Megan, and myself, and now I'm chatting with only you, not with the community, not with um, just one person. So I think that's going to be big, actually, because then people make these connections, and then but then they sometimes maybe don't. Uh, what's the word? They make the connection, but then they don't pursue them, let's say, but I think by having the group chat, it's almost like it's like a forced pursuing of a relationship. But I do think that's going to be big. Um, so that was number 8. So number 9, I have not done this technically, but I'll tell you a little what I think is pretty big, like a challenge. So for example, like you said, say Zena did a 10-day challenge. Every day throw out 10 things. I don't know if that's a good challenge, but so then every day you come on and you write the 10 things you threw out, or one of the 10 things you threw out, and I don't know, actually, I think it's a good challenge. But it just gets people to come back, every day. I did this with the gratitude circle, like getting people to talk about gratitude for a period of time. Um, you can have a challenge where it's obviously related to your community, but I feel like it's a good way to get people to continue to come back every day or every other day or whatever sequence you feel like. I don't know, has anyone thought about challenges or have ideas around it?
Joanne, I don't have an idea around it, but I do remember listening again. I listened to a lot of podcasts saying that one of the main issues with Mighty Networks is it's not a habit for people. So if your people are on Facebook, they have a habit of going to Facebook on their phone. And yes, they're distracted and whatnot, but habits are really hard to work, against. So they recommended at the start, when you are bringing in a big group of members, to do some sort of launch that requires them to get in the habit of coming into Mighty Networks every day. So I forgot about that until just this very moment. So maybe we'll add that to my list of things to think about. But it's definitely something I'm struggling with, just making sure people are coming back.
Yeah, I'm having such a crisis of conscience at risk of sounding dramatic around, what is too much, what is not enough. My membership, which I didn't really mention, is laser coaching. So, by nature, it's really specifically around, meetings and not a ton of content. So anyway, in my 2022, I'll be sort of reevaluating new ways to build that community, but not max people out, because that's what my whole membership is around, is, helping maxed out business owners, work less and make more, so that's a tough one for me. I feel it's a specific conundrum for me right now.
Yeah.
I wanted to just chime in and say that I did a challenge. I was reading a book. Well, I just say, for me, I'm leaning into simplicity in my life, like looking for every area that I can declutter or simplify or automate or whatever. And I was reading this book by Courtney Weaver. I think it's called Be More with Less. And
I know
that
that book.
meant, yeah, and then that led me to reading Goodbye Things, which is a really nice compact read. The author's Japanese, and it's just about minimalism, but not your typical minimalism book. It's really more of the psychology and whatnot. So I just put it out there, and I told the team, the community, guys, I'm challenging myself here with a simplicity challenge. Who wants to join in? And then I just did a fall simplicity challenge once a week, just did got on Canva, did a little design. This week I'm working on clutter in my kitchen. This week I'm working on clutter in my office, and then I just drilled down to like clutter on my timeline. There are people that I'm following on Twitter that I probably don't even need to be following, that are so irritating. They're just posting about stupid stuff. And so people joined in on that. And I find the simpler the challenge, the more people enjoy. And people don't drink enough water. I am notorious for not drinking enough water. And people love things like that. Just simple, like you said in the beginning, simple questions, simple challenges, because I find that it's the simple things that most of us are overlooking. Most of us know what we have to do for our health, but it's the simple things that we're just overlooking. And then Megan, to your point, I totally get it, because I feel like we want to give so much, especially if it's a paid community. You want to feel like people are getting what they're paying for. And I know for me, I had to get over my enoughism, because I always felt like I wasn't doing enough or giving enough. And then I hear people, Angel, I didn't know this is so good. I never thought it was going to be this good. I'm just wondering what would happen and how you feel about just directly asking, what do folks want? You're here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm planning 2022. What do you want more of, less of? What feels like too much for you?
Yes, I have had that ongoing dialogue with my group. My group is intentionally very small because, I did a little bit of a soft launch, and, I think Karen said she did that. And so, yeah, I'm definitely going to do an end of the year sort of assessment. And I'm launching a new program, or sort of an up-level version of my membership. So I was thinking of taking them through that process. And so I'll sort of assess whether or not they want to do that as a founding member to my new high ticket program. And yeah, that open dialogue is so important. And fortunately, the way that my membership, I've built it out was, again, not content based at all, or very minimally, and more just the one-to-one, the group coaching opportunities. And then I kind of dug in and did a lot of one-to-one, as I said in the beginning, with the exchange of, if, I'll do more one-to-one so I can kind of get to know what you've got going on and how to make you most successful, help you be more successful, if you'll share within the group. And that's been pretty great. So it's a great suggestion. I love that open dialogue. And but yeah, it's so hard not to want to give and give and give, isn't
And
it?
give and give and give. Yes.
That pre-scheduling thing, I don't know if you can, do you know that you can pre-schedule your or schedule out, or automate rather, your posts, has been fantastic for me.
And that comes in handy if you're doing these challenges. I learned that the hard way, because I was like, oh, I'll be able to keep up. And then something happened. And, now it's like, okay, what's the challenge this week? And then I've got to think, and I'm like, no more of that. I'm spending, like, today's my last work day for the year. And I'm planning out all the content and everything, like if it's on paper. And then just the simple challenges, I'll go ahead and post those, stack them, schedule them, and they'll be ready to go. That's what I'm finding overall with this whole community management. Like, the more that I plan and the less I get in my head and in my emotions, oh, this looks good, maybe I should do this. And then next thing you know, I'm creating more work for myself.
Yes, batch mode rocks. Batch mode is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this somewhere. I can't remember. Like Dean, I don't remember where I heard this, and maybe someone else could, if they heard it, and remind me. But one way to do this would be to ask your membership, like, um, if I removed everything, if I only left one thing, right? I don't know if it's tribe maybe, if I only left one thing, what would it be? And the people would say, "Oh my God, don't get rid of, I really would miss it if you didn't have co-working." Or, and then you just kind of could bubble to the top what, what you're interested in, or what your members are interested in.
I wanted to second Angel's comments. I did a type form survey where I asked basically what you're saying. Tell me one thing that you love, one thing you like couldn't live without, one thing you'd like improved, and then let me know if you have any other comments. And Megan, like you, I am super self-conscious about not giving people, enough. And just like Angel said, the people were like, we like the personal connection, and you're giving us too much stuff. Like you're like, it's too much, And so again, like Angel said, I'm like reducing all my stuff into these bite-sized tasks so that people can participate. And that goes back to what you were saying, Joanne. I think, like, with tip number 1, asking people simple questions so they don't have to think about it, that they could just take a small step forward, So I don't know. I mean, I think having your membership based on connection, Megan, is really big. And I would venture to say that if people aren't leaving, they're probably quite content with what you have.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So our number 10 tip is be awesome. I think if you're just yourself, and you follow the 9 things, and you're just your awesomeness, and not, we were talking about wanting to give too much and do too much. My quick story, which some of you have heard, is at the beginning of the membership, I was trying so many meetings, sending lots of messages and lots of posts every day, different themes. And a couple people said, "I have to leave because I'm overwhelmed. I can't keep up." And it was like, no, I'm giving you all these options. I don't expect you to come to a meeting Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but they're there in case you want to come. And people were like, nah, I'm out. And luckily I was able to save one, but I lost another. So don't feel like, we were just talking about like the need to give, you have to give so much, because sometimes, and I know Zena is going to be like, no, don't say less is more. Don't do it. But, but, sometimes less is better. So when it comes to this, so that's my 10. Um, I also wanted just to honor that Karen had a couple questions, and I could stay on longer if you can stay on, and we could cover that after, if that's okay. Okay. So does anyone have any others or thoughts about the 10 or anything they want to talk about in the last, you know, few minutes?
One quick question for you all is,
Yeah.
we talked about engagement for those who are members, but any thoughts around attracting more members? So things that you think are attracting, or
Yeah.
I did get some feedback from Lee Metcalf. I think her first name
Mhm.
is Lee. Lee
Yeah. Yeah.
Metcalf. Yeah,
Hmm.
she was awesome. She gave me one tip about my landing page. She thought it was good. She's like, here's a tip I have: show people inside your community. So I found someone who made like a little GIF or GIF, I don't know what it is, but it looks like they're scrolling um, through the community so people can see inside of it. So that was helpful. I put that on the landing
Nice.
page. But then I thought about non-member events. Like, what can I do that's a non-member to get people to come and see? So we did a virtual vision board party in November, had like 30 people sign up
Wow.
for that, totally
That's great.
free, did an ebook, like a 4-page, 5-page downloadable thing. Um, had 2 people out of the 30 who wanted to come in, but again, it was in
That's good.
November, so they were like, oh, the holidays, and oh,
Mm.
I'm already on Facebook. Oh, I don't know if I want to join another community. So my
Yeah.
hurdle is just getting over the this is not Facebook
Hmm.
conversation. This is
Hmm.
not more work. Oh, I feel like I just don't have enough time. That's their perception. So that's my question. Any engagement ideas for attracting people who are not members to the community?
I have some ideas that just that I've just been sitting on, ready to apply myself. But I love the thought of in the group today we discussed ... or here's what we've got slated for this week. We've got partner coach, blah blah blah. We're discussing this particular topic. Just sort of showcasing. And the beauty of, I always like to kind of come in once again with a work less kind of concept. And the beauty of that is that you can literally just sort of shoot that out. It's not an event. There doesn't, there's not a whole lot of pre or post preparation. You can literally sort of do it on the fly. You can do it whether it's on a social media channel or it's on in an email format. Also, I think, the social proof. Oh my gosh, I sure did love this particular speaker today. Posting that in stories, or again, just featuring new ones. And, that speaks to what we were talking about at the top of this, which is what Zena talked about, where you're getting that feedback and discussion from other members. And I think the one caution that I would say about that whole process is, not sharing too much so that your members don't think, hey, how come they get to get this for free? So there's a little bit of a balance there, but, with the concept of just creating new, you don't have to worry because we're going to be coming up with amazing new stuff that not everybody's going to have access to. I think that would solve that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Megan.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add, and we could probably have a whole nother session just on this topic. I think maybe the next one. But I'm a big fan of this paid mini workshops. So instead of like, oh, another free thing, I'll join because it's free, maybe I'll sign up, maybe not. But if they pay, even if it's a nominal fee, even if it's $17 or 27 or 37, but then you get people who put a little skin in the game
Yeah.
and they paid you already, and so to have them pay you again for the membership, I think it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, they see the value of the products that you're creating, and you know, people
Yeah.
who pay attention. So
Yeah, yeah. The vision board party was free. The mastermind, like if you want to take this vision to the next level and create the life you deserve, then here's the offering. So,
Mhm.
but I hear you, even just
Right.
something nominal, skin
Yep.
in the game. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think something I thought of just the other day, if I'm thinking of another one, that if they then join my membership, bye Zena, if they then join my membership, I'm going to give them a credit for that $27 that they paid for,
Mhm.
so it's
Mhm.
almost like,
Ah, okay.
so
Mhm.
if they join.
Okay.
I love that idea too.
Yeah. So was this helpful? People get anything good out of it?
Very much so. Thank you. First of all,
Oh,
just
good.
meeting you all and hearing your voices.
Good.
Thank you so much. I am designing my calendar. So if this is a regular, like every other, I'm going to do my best to
Mhm.
be here because this is so
Oh,
helpful
good.
for me and just
Oh,
the camaraderie.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, great.
Joanne provides high value.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Awesome. So, I'm gonna stay on with Karen. That she has more community questions. So you could stay. I'm gonna stop recording, but you could stay on if you want to get in this. We're gonna be talking about groups and topics and some other questions she's
Cut
has. But if
off
if you
because
Yep,
have to
I'm going to
go,
jump off.
then
30
yeah.
and my Lulu's gonna revolt if we don't.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All
So,
right.
Bye, ladies. Have a
Thank you.
beautiful set of holidays, okay? Take
Nice
good
to meet
care.
you
Okay,
all.
you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.